Hey North Shore, welcome to the after party. I'm Stan, and I'm joined this week by Carolyn.
Hello.
And we are wrapping up our Sabbath series. And Scotty was talking about work and how the Sabbath redeems our work. And as you know, if you're watching this in current time, it's about to be summer, and that's like the typical time of the year where all of us as Americans go, okay, now I can rest.
Take
Now
a break.
I can breathe. From what I'm told, in Seattle, the sun comes out, and so people go out and do stuff. I've yet to see it, but I name and claim that it will happen for
After
all
the
of
4th
us.
of July.
Yes.
After the 4th of July, you can pretty much count on it.
So we also just wanted to talk a little bit about how do we carry these Sabbath postures into our summer, and how do we use the summer to build upon what we've learned this June. And Carolyn, you were saying you wanted this summer to be more about the Sabbath for you. And what is compelling you to want that more this summer?
Yeah. So that's going to be my kind of focus for the summer. And I'm hoping to learn some, new rhythms I can carry with me into the fall. But as ministry and my volunteer stuff is closing, I'm going to have more time open. And so there's kind of two parts. One is just rest because I'm tired. Ready for some vacations. I just queued up a bunch of books for the lake. Mm-hmm. We go to the lake every summer. So I'm going to go read some books, things. So there's that type of rhythm. But there's also for me, and I've kind of mentioned some of this before too, is I'm going through some therapy. I'm deconstructing some of the ways that I connect with God and people, and I'm learning new habits. And one of the things that I'm learning that anxious people need the most is rest or a Sabbath. So as I tend to want to cling and to earn and to prove and to strive, the antidote for that, the way to stop those habits is rest. So I am going to be focusing on Sabbath habits and practices and rhythms to see if I can get my mind to slow down, my heart rate to slow down, so I can be still for a bit.
Yeah. It's not a burden or this legalistic thing that we have to worry about if we did it the right way as Christians, but it's a healing thing that God's given to you as hey, I care about you becoming this kind of person, and I'm giving you this gift to assist in that.
Yeah, it doesn't feel guilt-driven. I'm actually really looking forward to it. It should be wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm a horrible person because I'm not Sabbathing.
Yeah.
Anything guilt-ridden is going to end up with results that aren't going to be as fulfilling.
Yeah. Well, lots of you have written in and asked questions about the Sabbath, and they're all very practical questions. So we just wanted to spend a little bit of time naming how to approach the Sabbath and how to actually see it happen. And for me, the way I think about the Sabbath and like what it's supposed to do is that when I go to Sabbath, what I'm supposed to leave the Sabbath with is this knowledge that I'm at rest with God, God loves me, God is with me, and that his world is abundant, and that he's taking care of me, and that I'm secure in what he's going to give me. And when you have that as like, this is what Sabbath is supposed to give me, it changes like the practicals, because now the practicals are not so much, hey, I've got to figure out where do I have 24 hours. It's more, how do I do things that would make me realize God loves me, God's world is abundant, I'm secure in him, I don't have to fear things. And it shifts what we have to do, And so if you're someone who's a caretaker or young kids or these different things that are, man, I would never be able to take 24 hours away from that. You start to be able to go, okay, but what could I do that would be restorative or would show me that God is abundant or show me that God loves me and my world is secure. And so we were talking about what's the difference between reading a book for your Sabbath versus reading a book on a day off.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I love to read. I always have a novel going. And I remember there was a time where I'd like have my Bible and a novel, and I'm like, which do I pick? Well, I probably should pick my Bible because that's what good Christians do. And if I pick my novel, then I'm being selfish. And I am learning that God is a God of stories, and he loves novels. He has gifted authors. And so when I invite him into that novel reading, it's like, Jesus, come on, let's go read this great book. And even having a conversation with him about, do I see him in it or not? I mean, not that I want to spiritualize everything, but it's just to do it with him and enjoy that. That makes time with him, and I feel more rested and centered afterwards.
Yeah, and that illustrates how lots of different things can be for the Sabbath then. Cooking a meal, going on a hike, going out to eat. Maybe you work your budget in such a way that like, oh, even though I've got little kids and I'm not going to be able to like take a break from them unless the grandparents come in town, I don't have to cook tonight because we've built our budget in a way that we could get takeout instead, or, you know, whatever it is for you. Everyone's different, and that's okay. Everyone's got different pathways that God has shaped them into to give them that kind of restorative experience.
Yeah. And I even think about pace because I'm a fast person. I do things fast. I think fast. I go fast. I move fast. Everything's fast. And so by the time I get to a day where I'm going to Sabbath, then I'm like, and I can't quite get my eye to stop twitching, and I can't get my heart rate down because I've just been so fast paced all week. So I think there's even a rhythm during the work week. And as we prepare, just to like take the longest line, take the slow breath, do the dishes slow, whatever, just so that we're, you know, in that more, we can transition into that quietness easier.
Yeah. And that kind of illustrates another practical, which is it's less about getting the 24 hours done and more about the things that are part of the mindset during the Sabbath. And so if you're, you know, in your regular week, you've probably got lots of things that make you feel like I've got to pick up the pace. I got to be fearful. I got to be anxious. I got to worry about this, you know, whatever it is. And on the Sabbath, you can go, let me do things that are not going to induce those feelings. You know, so like a real practical example is, you know, it's great to know the current events. It's great to know what's going on in the world. But all of those things, you know, breed this like anxiety and feeling of fear and things like that. And maybe just on the Sabbath, you go, hey, today I don't need any news, or I don't need any social media, or I don't need things that would make me more anxious or fearful, because there's plenty of other days for those things. But on my Sabbath, it's more about the mentality that I'm cultivating when I'm Sabbathing. And so, yeah, and just one other last practical before we kind of close this up is, if you are the kind of person who's striving to get that 24 hours, like start to finish, which is a great goal. It's not something that we all have to jump into right off the bat, but it's more an ideal that we work our way up to. I have just found for myself, it's a lot easier to do it when you start with sundown to sundown, which is how the Jewish people did it. They didn't go, oh, the clock struck midnight, now I've got to figure out how to keep these 24 hours Sabbathing. They just said, hey, let me go to sundown, because you could start a new day, or for us, it's ending the day. You end a day with rest, and then you roll into a time of rest, and then you go back to your regular schedule. And something about that rhythm, just, I don't know why it works better, but the Jewish people knew what they were doing, and you know, they had 10 commandments and all that kind of stuff. So maybe they got some extra instructions that we didn't know.
Maybe they know something.
Yeah. But we just want to say, hey, this is our last after party for this calendar year. So we're so thankful for you joining with us along this process, and we will be back in the fall, and we hope you will be as well. Have a great summer, and maybe you enjoy your Sabbath rest.
Get some rest.
Yeah.